Hi everybody, Matt back with you. Hope you're okay. Today we're doing part 2 of our canal walks. Part 2 today covers Todmorden to Hebden Bridge, so it's about 4.5 miles. We're going to do what we did for the Littleborough to Rochdale one. I'll show you things on the way, and also I'll occasionally pop on and off just to show you some things that might be of interest, if I can find anything. So yeah, see what we can find. Let's go. So our walk starts with a tribute to Lucy Atherton, who has some pictures and a bench there. Lucy passed away a few years ago, and you may not know, but I used to be a teacher for a few years, and Lucy, I did teach at one point. Yeah, a shame, but at least there is somewhere for people to put their own tributes. Right, let's head this way, and I'm walking next to what was a mill, but hasn't become anything much of anything since, really. I think the land is for sale. There were surprisingly few barges between Littleborough and Rochdale. I have a feeling we'll see more today, including this one, which might be abandoned, I'm not sure. It is registered. So there are numerous locks en route to Hebden. All make quite a nice picture. So when lockdown kicked in, that's when I started doing these long walks, and this was a route I took often, because you can just go for miles. Quite often not see anybody else. I'll be honest, I didn't stick to that 30-minute a day rule, being on my own. Yeah, I couldn't have stayed in, it was going to kill me. I'm very lucky to be in a place I could just go out and head off into the hills and not be seen for hours and hours by anybody else. So chastise me if you will, I don't care. But this is a lovely stretch, and kind of bridge to bridge I used to gauge it in blocks. So we're coming to our first bridge here from where we've set off. Behind me, this was another mill. This one has obviously not been knocked down, although it was burnt down at one point. It's now houses. We have done a previous video inside the chimney. The ruins that are here though used to be a row of houses, and again, as covered in another video, rock star Keith Emerson was born there. Needs a blue plaque. One down, 3 to go. I can't quite remember what the name of this mill was, but up on that top section where that little circle is, it says 1832 to 2002. I think that's the life it had as a mill, and it's been flat since then. Love the huge rocks that can suddenly appear. There's a great rock face across the other side of the canal there. I've always had a feeling that I want to climb it. However, the years are pressing on. I'm more likely now to look like the guy in the chair there. There's also a load of rusting old vehicles and tractors in the distance. Sadly, on private land. I've also covered this spot on various other videos. This is the play barge, which 2.5 years ago, this was just a burnt out wreck and there was nothing else here. Now it's an absolutely wonderful spot where you can come and have a picnic, read a book, borrow a book. You can even pretend you're riding a barge. I definitely love the little libraries. We'll see a few of these on the way. A joke file. Let me tell you a joke. Or not. Yeah, this is by far the best of the little libraries. Well worth a visit. Next bridge. And after this one, we're going to crack on a bit. A few bits to tell you here. We're at Lobmill Stables. After the previous house of a rock star, a house in the distance, once belonged to Mick Hucknall of Simply Red. We have another lock here. And for quite some time, I wondered what a gongoozler was. Reached another old mill. This one, again, different. This one's been turned into units for business, and not sure if there's some shops at the other side. It's not a particularly sunny day, but I do love the upside down world in the water. And we reach another mill, which is in the process, it looks, of being turned into houses. But I believe at the far side that's still in use as a mill. Some evidence of its past you can see here. The big house up on the hill, I think, is called Studley Hall. It was, I think, the location of a murder scene about a decade and a half ago of a man from Manchester who ran a nightclub. That might be a story to cover another time. Right, next stop is Studley Glen. And look at this, it's like a portal into another world. Another beautiful and picturesque location. Who's that walking down the hill? Oh, it's only Tom. I can't believe it. Halfway and Tom's joined us. Hello. On this stretch of the canal at the back there, you can see a Muscovy duck. That's been here since I started doing these walks in lockdown. Literally this stretch of canal, so that's what, coming up to 3 years ago. Quite often it's on its own, but I'm quite pleased to see it's now got some pals who are looking at me eagerly for food, but I ain't got none. See you, buddy. Just off the canal on this old bridge is Bridge Home Cricket Club. Just have a quick look here. There we go. If you're into cricket, it's the place for you. Okay, we are at our halfway point today. 2 miles to Todd, 2 miles into Hebden Bridge. Another mill en route. Again, I think some of it in use, some of it not. Could this one have been built by somebody from Rochdale? The next bridge, those walls up there have been rebuilt since, but that's the site of Burnt Acre Mill. So our next section is called Calice, and here there's a stretch of the canal where barges are moored all the time and people live here. It's also famously the location that floods before anywhere else. The ruins of a mill at the other side. Is this the ruins of Calice Mill? I think this is what you call community living. Okay, we're now entering Hebden Bridge. Let's see what's en route. One thing we can see from here is the remains of the Woodman Inn, which I haven't got in yet. So across the other side of the canal there is the base of what I presume would have been a bridge that would go across possibly the canal and the river. However, there is a bridge there, so I could be mistaken. This section here, obviously we're in winter, but if you ever do this walk, come through in summer. This is quite a delightful cornucopia of blossoms and blooms. There's a line I never expected to say. Pretty ace bit of graffiti on this building here. Tom's heading off. So let's see what we can find on this last stretch of the canal. So the train goes over the top of us here. We finally reach a pub after 5 miles. Stubbing Wharf. Oh dear. We're now on the last half mile or so into Hebden. So before we finish our final stretch of the canal into Hebden, where we will leave part 2 of this, I just realised I've not gone off the track at all really. So there's just a couple of things to show you this way. Okay, so what I wanted to show you is here. This is a bridge that usually has some fairly cool graffiti in it. Unfortunately, it's one you can really only get to when it's dry. And there's not as much water running through. So, yeah, plan was to go under there and show you that. I'll leave that for another time. So unsurprisingly again, as we are between both the canal and the river, we find remains of former mills. This one has the iconic chimney. You might not be able to make it out. There is a date on it somewhere. So the date is there, 1863. Look at this. So yeah, Hebden Bridge is very different these days compared to maybe 50 years ago or more. There are remnants of the past hidden away. You can see the remains of an ivy-riddled chimney there. There's another chimney on what would have been a former mill. Again, it's no businesses. A lot of these bridges have these huge pipes on them. What were they before? This bit is Hebden Works, which is a coffee lounge and shops, but not open today. Some of it is. This section is called Black Pit Lock. The black pit in question is actually where the river joins here, and that's a particularly dangerous part of the river. But on one of these we also see something interesting. As long as I don't drop my camera. See the face? I would say this image is one of the most photographed sections of Hebden Bridge. So there we go, that completes part 2 of our canal side wonders. Today, as you know, if you've watched it this far, is Todmorden to Hebden. Don't know where part 3 will be yet, but we'll pick up this bit at some point. Hebden to maybe Bridge. We'll wait and see. So yeah, Wonderful walk if you get a chance to do it. Doesn't take too long, about an hour and a half at a good pace, and lots to look at. Okay, we'll see you very soon, guys. Take care.